Blizzard hid a ton of Easter eggs and maybe even a hint towards a future hero on the new Throne of Anubis map. Let's have a look. Season 12 of Overwatch 2 came with a new game mode, Clash, and that game mode came with 2 new maps, Hanaoka, which I already made a video about a few months ago, and the brand new Throne of Anubis, which is basically an extension of that old 2CP map, the Temple of Anubis. And as always, that map comes with lore, Easter eggs, a view on the old map, and even possibly a hint towards a future hero. Maybe. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's just start out at the spawn room. Well, I want to start this out next to a spawn point. This is a beautiful spot just besides the blue spawn room, or the furthest spawn room. And I just kind of want to point it out because this is such a beautiful detail, and Blizzard always does their best to set a certain atmosphere, and it works so well. I mean, listen to this. This whole vibe. You can hear the water. There's nobody that is ever going to come here. Let's be honest, anybody coming out of this spawn room is not even going to pay attention to what is happening right here, but nevertheless, they do it. They have a little harbor, they have a little boat right there in the back that seems to be going nowhere, but that's fine. There's even a fishing rod, although I do have to say, I don't know what the uses of this fishing rod. There's water, but there's a bit of a distance to cover. But what do I know? I don't fish. Let's go inside the spawn room. This is actually kind of a waiting room, an office. I don't know what it is exactly, for a yacht thing that they have around here with these floating dune boats. And sometimes around this part, there will be music that starts to play. It doesn't always do it. There we go. Listen to that. Listen to that music and take in this room. It just brings me back to vacation immediately. And I've never been to Egypt, but anywhere around the Mediterranean does have this kind of vibe and whatnot, so love it. There's a few of these magazines that we've seen since Overwatch 1, where you have Cassidy, Tracer, whole kerfuffle with the Omnic Crisis and whatnot. So yeah, those are lying around. But this is a beautiful spawn room. Feels very cozy, very different than the other one. This whole part of the map is very cozy, warm. It's like a marketplace, like a very touristic place. The other end is a little gnarlier, a little darker, a little drier. So this is basically the office or the waiting room or the whatever it is for this company that does these sand cruises. And this is, I guess, one of those ships. Makes a lot of noise, but it looks extremely cool. It's a nice mixture of that classic Egyptian feel, but then with a lot of modern touches, of course. This is Overwatch. This is 2027 something, 2070 something something. So that it looks badass. It's kind of funny though that they still have this wooden floor that looks very bumpy, but you know, it adds to the character. I like it. They also do races with these ships. You can see one flying around right there, but I'll come back to the races later. Yeah, I love these details, man. There's one on the old Anubis map that is more of the classic cruiser look, that has a slightly different look. It's not as easy to get as close up to it as it is with this one. So we have 2 minarets. I think that's what they call them in English. They're basically used for prayer, to announce the prayer and whatnot. Those are 2 minarets too, I think. You can hear them announce it if you go to any North African or Muslim country. This is the first capture point, of course, and yeah, it comes with a hole, because this is not only the first capture point, it is also the second spawn room that is under here. But that spawn room has an opening that you can use, and yeah, I think it's mainly used for Farah, Echo, Juno can definitely use it too. But I think at some point throughout the design, I can't shake the feeling that they had a jump pad right here. I mean, this feels like the perfect spot for a jump pad. I might be wrong. They might have decided against it for balancing reasons. But yeah, this one also has a lot of water elements. Like I said, this side of the map feels very cozy, touristic, and it comes with a lot of plants, water, and whatnot. But this is the capture point. That also has a lot of water elements to it. Little fountain right here. Oh, no, there's not much fountain to this. Yep, but fine. Right here is the Royal Furniture Shop. I used Google to translate all of that. There's an app that I have on a spare phone that translates all of this. But yeah, they're supposed to be selling furniture, but to be honest, it's mainly carpets. Only carpets. There's plenty of carpets. Some of them need a wash, need to be cleaned. But I guess carpets are technically furniture, so they're not lying. And on the other side, there's a touristic info point right here. Although I have to say, that does not look touristic, but we'll come back to that later. And this little building with the scarab sign on there is a hotel. A very tiny, cozy, small hotel. Beautiful. All right, let's go in there. So throughout this part, you have all these little shops that sell spices. You have the little scales going on. I love all these details. It looks beautiful. All these colors. Look at that. That's more like a cruise. The other ship looks more like one of those racers, but this feels like a floating cruise ship. I would love to see that one. Damn. I think those ships that are on the spawn point in Oasis, those might be closer to that. Anyways, around the corner, there's a door that has some really kick-ass lighting. Look at that. There's particles coming out. It feels like a very mysterious door. It looks like it could be in Star Wars, to be fair. I don't know what's behind. It won't open. And down here is Jasper's Cafe. If you come out of Jasper's Cafe, which is, to be fair, wait, what? Alright, this sign is just advertisement for Jasper's Cafe. But if you come out here, you have another one of these tourist signs, and you have the perfect spot for a picture, for a photo. If you are coming to Cairo in 2075 or something, this is the spot where you kind of line up the family and take a snapshot with the Sphinx, which looks very different from the real Sphinx, let's be honest, but it sets the mood. This is the perfect spot for a picture. These are the races I was talking about. So these sky sailing races, this is a poster for the semi-finals that are happening August 10th on a Sunday or something. So yeah, I think that ship that we saw at the start is closer to this. And actually on Anubis, you can see them zooming around, really racing. On this part, not so much. Then we need to go back a little bit because this is the second capture point, or depending on how you look at it, the first one after the middle. And you have a big Horus statue that is standing here. Look at these abs. These guys worked out. Dang. But yeah, he's overlooking this little square that has another water element to it. A lot of fruits, vegetables, peppers, and carpets, of course, that are being sold around here. There's another small hotel. And around this corner, there's a huge gaping hole. I'm definitely going to fall in sometime. That is going to happen. On the other end, there's a similar hole because this whole map is, of course, mirrored. There's something really interesting about that hole. That sounded weird. I just heard it. So there's more peppers, fruits, whatnot. Small detail in all of these hieroglyphs that you can find everywhere. That is also the case, by the way, on Anubis. In between all of the hieroglyphs, there's the Horde symbol. And yeah, I used to play Horde when I played World of Warcraft, which I actually started playing again recently. And I do play Horde characters, so I noticed that immediately. That is another cafe with the cat. Right here next to the second capture point, there's a little restaurant cafe, and they are actually preparing these typical Egyptian flatbreads. I'm going to try and pronounce it. Aish baladi. Aish baladi. I think that is the way they pronounce it. And it's a whole wheat kind of flatbread, typical for Egypt. And I love that they put these types of details on these maps. I always go looking for types of food that are hidden, that are typical for that country. They do a really good job at that. And this is, of course, a leak, which kind of worries me because, yeah, my body back there, Yakimon, usually is the one holding the leak. And now we find a lonely leak all by itself in a huge pot that could be used for a stew. Maybe a Yakimon stew with some flatbread. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. All right, this is where it gets interesting. This is the pyramid, the central point on this whole map. And we know that pyramid. We've always seen it from another side. That is where Anubis is being held. And I'm going to show you in a second. We're going to kind of come in from an alternate entrance. Every pyramid has a temple attached to it. And so does this one. So there's a lot of excavation going on here. A lot of people working. And this is something that was discovered by Scorpio, who runs Info Payload, and he showed us this little secret that is behind this pile of stones. If you manage to make your way through, you can find a Farah Pachimari hidden right here. What is she doing? Why is she hidden here? We'll never know. But that is a nice fun detail. I mean, it is kind of hard to figure that out if you don't force your way through, but we're going to fly down here. You might recognize this part. This was featured in the trailer for Adventure. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know what the trailer it was exactly. It might have been the seasonal trailer. It might have been a teaser for the season. It might have been a teaser for Adventure's test event. But at the end of that trailer, Adventure digs their way up and they end up right here at this spot, staring at the god program Anubis. This is where it happened. And based on that little clip, I made the prediction that this was going to be a clash map and this was going to be the central point. And it was actually pretty close in my assumptions on how it was going to be laid out. But yeah, this is Anubis, the god program. I can't emphasize this enough. The fact that we are playing right here where Anubis is being jailed, the big bad, the big villain, the one that instigated both of the Omnic crisis, and that is probably, in my opinion, the one that is secretly puppeteering Ramatra to do the same thing again. It is crazy. I never expected us to ever see Anubis, especially after PvE got cancelled. But here you go. He is the big bad guy. He's an AI that was built by humans, of course, and was tasked to solve the ecological crisis that the planet was in. And he had to research and find a solution. And his solution was kill all the humans. We are the cause, so you take away the cause. And yeah, he created his army. He turned all of the Omnics against us, basically hacked all of them, and then started the first Omnic crisis. He was jailed right here under this pyramid. There's this footage of them putting like the gold cover on the pyramid, stop him from sending out the signal. But then years later, he breached his jail and he actually hacked and took over all the Omnics that were around here. But Helix Securities, who were responsible for jailing him and securing him, managed to stop him from breaching any further. And I think they kind of ramped up the security measures because look at that. There's a whole lot going on here. There's a lot of screens, panels, and these are all run by Helix Security, which you can see some evidence of right here. There's a lot of crates. And as you might know, Farah works for Helix Securities. That's why you see these armor pieces and these, well, I don't know what they are, rockets that are reminiscent of those that Farah uses. But again, it's just a whole installation that is meant to keep him in check. And for now, it looks good. All the measures seem to work. Everything seems to be stable, active, so that's good. I'm not convinced that he's not up to something. Now you see this beam coming out of his chest, and that's, I think, the way to kind of keep him in check, because right here they have this same thing going on, and that beam basically communicates with this device. Feels like some type of firewall thing. But yeah, this is the jail. Lore-wise, so many details. Just the fact that we're standing here and looking at him. Maybe we should get a little closer. He won't bite, I think. Look at that. That is some nice work. That is beautifully done. Yeah, the backside, there's even a little skull in here because of textures overlapping. But we are not supposed to come here. We're not supposed to be here in this part. So let's just go back. But yeah, a lot happened in this little room. Crazy. Okay. So, as I said, this map is very mirrored, so once you come out on the other side, on the red side, the whole structure is basically a carbon copy of what we got on the other side. It's just dressed very differently. This part really feels more like where the actual people live. The other side is more touristic, these little markets, a little more fluffy. Down here, there are no fountains. There's only like shops that sell Omnic parts. I'll show you in a second. There's one detail that I want to point out. And for me, that just says everything. Like the amount of detail that Blizzard puts in these maps. But you have this small, insignificant faucet that is right here. Someone at some point decided, you know, this looks like a good place for someone to just tap water. They need it throughout the day to make tea, to wash something. There you go. Small little details. I love kind of sticking around these doors and listening if I can hear anything. Because sometimes you hear singing or whatnot, some of the maps. But alright, these are the Omnic parts I was talking about. I'll come back to that in a second, because there's something going on here. But anyways, on the second capture point, or the first, there is another Horus statue with the abs, so that is mirrored. The little fountain is here, but it is dried up. And instead of fruits and vegetables, you got these Omnic pieces, arms, legs, full bodies. They're stashed around here, even hanging from cords. And as I said before, on this side, you also have that huge gaping hole, but that huge gaping hole has a few Omnics lying around here. Now, as I said, at some point Anubis breached his jail and he took over a lot of these Omnics that were around here. And a lot of these bodies are Omnics that didn't make it. They got hacked, taken over, and ended up dying because humans resisted, of course, and started fighting each other. A little, I don't know what they call them, these places where you can smoke a water pipe and whatnot, but there you go. Cozy with some music. Jasper has a lot of places around here. This is a little special room. Like I said, a lot of these vendors sell the Omnic parts. I feel like this looks and feels a little different from the others. I don't know. It looks more significant. There's this box with one of the Omnic's hands. Then there's this huge dish that has a jackal on top of it and a laptop. And just like with any laptop in Overwatch, they are very aware of the battery efficiency. That seems to be a huge topic in Overwatch. It's another one of those Star Wars doors. And these signs are very glitchy. They show the pyramid. I don't know, guys. I don't trust Anubis. Okay, let me get back to these husks. So at the start of the video, I said that there might be a teaser for the next hero in this map. Let me explain. So these husks have been on the Anubis map for quite a while. They were added at some point. At some point, they did a bit of a remake or a reshuffle of that map, and they added these husks. I remember when I saw these in the time, that I made the comment like they look like they could be part of an Omnic hero, because at that point we already had concept art of what was going to be Echo, and they reminded me a lot of that concept art, and it actually turned out to be kind of an early version of Echo, in the sense that Echo, her face is also projected in front of her. When Echo disables that projector, you get the similar look as you see on this husk. Yeah, which is just bland with the big projector in there. By the way, love this little detail on the scarab on this box. So this turned out to be an early version of what Echo would end up looking like. These guys look very specific too. I was just staring at these guys and imagining like, maybe they'll make this guy into a hero too. Maybe we'll see a hero in this style. And there's a few of them. And then I remembered that we got this little teaser. We got a little picture, a hero profile back at BlizzCon last year that showed the tank hero that would be coming in season 14. And that hero looks like it is a head set on a big body, and it's not set on top. It's actually set somewhere lower. It's really difficult to say where exactly. It could be right between the shoulders, but it could also be way lower. And then I noticed that these guys don't have heads at all. None of them do. There's not even like a head that is missing. No, they just don't have a head. It's not a part of the whole system. They basically are a big body with arms. So what is their face, so to speak? And then I noticed, if you look down here, you almost see a little face right there under that body. You see 2 eyes and almost like a mouth that is in there. And they all have it. All of these big guys have it. This one is hiding it pretty well because he's sitting down, but even the ones on Anubis have that. And then I look back at that picture and I was like, this could actually be a thing. I know this is a stretch. It's like a big stretch. On the other hand, that tank really looks like they are a big robot that has a small face somewhere in the middle. It just reminded me of these guys. I just felt there was a bit of a link. I might be completely wrong. If I'm not, this is where I called it. Alright, over here, of course, you also have that one spawn room that has the opening in the roof where there might have been a jump pad at some point. And instead of all the plants and the water elements, there are hieroglyphs. And basically, this is an old part of the temple. Down here, you have the obelisks. One of them is slightly destroyed. And behind them, there's a little temple that has these yellow flags. I mean, the yellow flags always draw my attention. Standing right next to them. And you have that same little sign that we've seen over there. It was glitching. Again, showing the pyramid. And behind it is the statue of Horus. I think it is Horus, right? So who knows? I'm sticking with my theory. Something is going on. Anubis is not as imprisoned as we all think he is. Anyways, this is Helix Security's tank that we use as a spawn room on the old map. It is the exact same model, by the way. It also has the Murloc on there, and the number is even the same. But yeah, this is one of Helix tanks parked right here. And I think they're repairing it. There's a lot of tools around here. And this is the final spawn point on the other end. Let's go inside. Definitely a completely different vibe, where if you remember, on the other end, we had this almost touristic kind of waiting hall for those sand cruises. Yeah, this is just a temple where some drones are doing research, and there's this gate. Listen. You hear that sound? That's the same sound that we hear on Petra. If you go beyond the ridge on Petra, if you get close to that ridge you have down there, you hear this same sound. And judging by the flags, there's a lot of air coming through that gate. I want to know what's behind there. It's probably somewhere on this laptop where they are again checking the battery efficiency, as they always do. Now, the people that are researching here are quite familiar to us too. They are actually the Wayfinder Society, which is the organization that Venture is a part of. We got to know them through Venture. So Venture and their colleagues are digging around here. And yeah, in one of the trailers, we also saw this little urn that Venture had digged up. I think in their case, it was a gold one, and this is more of a clay version, but it's very similar. But it doesn't seem to fit in the box for some reason. I don't know what's happening here. It's floating over the box. I think it was supposed to be in the box, but someone forgot to move it, to change it. Something happened to the map. The map was dropped a little bit, and they forgot this little detail, and now you have this hovering urn over the box. But yeah, all over the place, you can see the gear and the symbol of the Wayfinder Society. They have a lot of the same material that they use on Petra, which cannot be a coincidence, of course, especially with that door. So on this map, you have Helix Security working together with the Wayfinder Defender Society while Anubis is kept imprisoned right there in that pyramid. All right, the final detail on this map that I want to show you guys is right here. This view. It might look slightly familiar. If you look back there, you can see the final point on the Temple of Anubis map. If we play on Temple of Anubis, we actually approach the pyramid from this side. You can see the spawn point for the attackers, which is that same Helix security tank back there. And a lot of these elements are actually on the map. And yeah, it's a very low poly version of that final spawn point. They even put the little platforms on there. And if you go a little to the left, you can go closer by, but it just gets... But it's just very low poly, so there's not much you can tell. But yeah, you have that one statue that is right there at the end. That is the spawn room where the defenders come out of Defender final point. If you look around the corner, everything gets really, really messy. So yeah, so that gives you an idea where we are at when it comes to the old map. Now, I checked on the old map and it did not add this part to the old map. So it's not like you can see this new map on the old map. And that is understandable, of course. Those are resources, things that they don't have time for right now. So that's the old map right there. I still miss that map. I even added that second tank that you can see in the distance on Temple of Anubis, but it's a little closer. And as I said, you can see these ships floating around, racing around. And on the actual Anubis map, there's way more than this. Yeah. That was the Throne of Anubis. I don't trust him. Team 4 did an amazing job on this map. It actually integrated a lot of elements from the old map, but also added a ton of new stuff. And to be fair, this is one of the most important maps in the whole of Overwatch history, lore-wise that is. As I said before, the significance of playing on this map in front of Anubis, it should not be underestimated. That being said, it does not replace the old Temple of Anubis for me. I still miss playing that map on a regular basis. I actually kind of miss 2CP. But I'll make a separate video on that, so make sure to subscribe. But let me know what you thought about this map and about these Easter eggs. For now, however, that was it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons. I could not do these videos without you guys. You have my eternal gratitude. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out this video. Click it. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.